So one exciting area of work that the Measurement for Change group has been implementing over the last year has been our belonging surveys. So these surveys are developed for various age ranges, so from early years to mid years to youth 14 and above. And these surveys play a critical role in terms of helping programs better understand the sense of belonging amongst their participants, as well as the overall kind of sense of belonging to the wider community. So this has been a work in partnership with the University of Waterloo, where we were able to go through various measures and kind of define a set list of questions and response scales that were validated and are able to measure what we were intending to measure, which is program level belonging. So this has been an exciting piece of work that we've done and piloted last year. We had over 10 community organizations pilot this within their programs. And then this year, we're kind of approaching things a little bit differently. In previous iterations, one of the main constraints and one of the things we learned a lot about was that as much as programs want to incorporate these types of shared measurement areas or concepts like belonging, there is a challenge when it comes to balancing that and other evaluation related data collection that needs to happen at the program. So this time around, I think we're trying to do a little bit of a different approach where we're trying to tailor a little bit more in terms of what the program needs and to minimize survey fatigue by offering kind of a consolidated survey where possible.
I'm the community data liaison for the M4C team. Essentially, my role is to help develop all of the surveys in-house. So taking the questions that we already have validated and putting them to use for community groups. And then as a part of that, getting some useful data to get a sense of how youth are feeling in the context of those groups or those community organizations, but also, like you said, trying to meet the other needs of the community programs by including things like maybe program evaluation components where we can, just to make sure that we're getting enough information and the right information that different groups need. To outline our very basic process, we start by meeting with the organizations to get a sense of what it is that they're looking for, what it is that would be helpful to them, really putting our heads together with them so they're bringing in their expertise on the work that they're doing and their needs, and then we're bringing our knowledge of the belonging tools and the survey process. And then after doing that, we go through essentially a catalog of questions. I know those are freely available to take a look at, figure out what the survey could look like. We'll build essentially a testing link for programs, and then once all that's good to go, we're going to send out the survey and collect some data from the community, from the participants, so children, youth, and then we'll come back, we'll help with processing all of the data, cleaning it, analyzing it, and then putting it all together into a really digestible package, usually through like some kind of visual that'll summarize all the results. We've got different question catalogs for different age groups, starting as young as 3 and going all the way up to, I think, 18 or 17. So there's a lot of ages that we can cover. It seems from my experience so far that there's a lot of flexibility in terms of programs and organizations. So obviously it might depend a little bit on what programs are looking for and whether we can support those needs. But that being said, I do think it's quite broad. Programs that are targeted towards more so children and youth and wanting to get a sense of what belonging looks like in the context of their programs.
Yeah, and that could include like larger, more established programs and organizations in our region, also much more grassroots or like ethno-linguistic associations in our communities as well. Mm-hmm. Essentially, we want to make sure that the service is available at no cost for the next year to a variety of different programs. And of course, we want to make sure that, like Jasmine has mentioned, programs are able to outline what their particular program goals are as well in this process to track other outcomes as well as or alongside belonging.
So we have things outlined for the early years, so children as young as 3 years old, all the way to youth, all the way up to I think age 17 or 18. And So there's 4 different age kind of categories, and there's some flexibility in terms of where we're drawing the questions from and what they look like, but they all cover similar domains and similar areas about the program, about belonging and well-being, those kinds of things. And then the version of the survey that's approved for youth can also be used with parents and caregivers of the participants in certain programs. So if that's a demographic that an organization is interested in, that can definitely be incorporated. And then in terms of consent, so everything is approved through the University of Waterloo, given that we do have some data partners there. So we essentially have a process where for children and youth under in the early years, so I think between 3 to 7, there is kind of a parental piece, and then there's a child piece. So we get consent from both parties. For the middle years groups, we have more of an opt-in, opt-out process where there's consent, but then we do make sure still that we're getting permission from both parents and children wherever we need to. And then for the youth, it's just that they are completing their own consent form and confirming that they would like to be a part of the project. So, and again, someone can choose to back out, and that's something we can try and manage, but yeah. So the partnership is currently set up through the CYPT and the Family Psycho Lab at the University of Waterloo. So that's directed by Dr. Dylan Brown. And essentially through this partnership and through ethics review at the university, we're able to securely store all of the data that we collect on the lab's secure servers. And only folks who are supposed to have access will have access, and we'll also set up a website and a way, essentially a SharePoint folder for communities to be able for community organizations to be able to access their information at the levels that we agree to. And so going forward, if there's additional components about program evaluation, we're working with ethics to make sure that that's all all kosher and that it all makes sense. Organizations will have programs running at different timelines, and so we can definitely cater towards that. It's flexible in terms of whether you want to get in touch earlier and then regroup a few months down the line and figure out the specific questions and actually implement the survey. It could be a one-time thing. It could be a thing that we do multiple times throughout the year. So very broadly, there's a lot of flexibility. It doesn't have to be on a specific timeline, as long as it's feasible and that it makes sense for the organization and on our end as well.
And we're aiming to have this no-cost program available at least until the summer of 2026.
Yeah, so June, I think, at least, yeah.